Hi, this is Corncod, one of Nationalist News and Notes. Anyone who's been paying any attention to the European continent lately has to be surprised by the great success thus far being experienced by Nigel Farage's month-old Brexit party, which appears to be is going to be the leading UK party in the at the end of the European elections, which I think start in about 3 days. It's truly amazing how this party came out of nowhere and is leading, and has at current polls indicate it has more support than both the Tories and the Labour Party combined. So it's truly amazing how Farage was able to pull this off. You know, he, as most people know, he used to be the leader of UKIP, but he left UKIP, and they didn't want him back, the United Kingdom Independence Party. So they're running in opposition to each other, but he's smashing all opposition in front of him. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not an uncritical admirer of Farage. I think his species of nationalism is extremely moderate. It's more moderate than a lot of what's going on in the continent, which I suppose might be better suited for British conditions. But still, you know, I would have actually preferred that UKIP would be doing better in the polls. But Farage is destroying everything in front of him. He's become the preeminent face of European politics, at least in the form of the EU elections coming up. Of course, sadly, the bad news for nationalists in Europe now comes from a place that everyone thought was secure, Austria. It turns out that Hans Christian Strache, the head of the Freedom Party, somebody came out with a video of him 2 years ago, even before his party became part of the coalition now governing Austria, having a meeting with an alleged Russian oligarch and talking about buying up newspapers in that country. Now, it appears to me that this recording was probably done by either British intelligence or the CIA, you know, MI6 or the CIA, because this was like a sting operation that they could spring on the Freedom Party if it ever came to power. And it looks like Strache is out, and the Austrian president, scumbag socialist Van den Bellen, has called for new elections, and I suppose he's very optimistic that the socialists will once again take power in Austria. Other observers, like Sanity for Sweden, he's a little bit more optimistic about how the Freedom Party will do in a future election, which the snap election, which is going to take place in Austria now that the coalition between the People's Party, which is a moderate right opposition, but in recent years, under new leadership of its youthful new leader, it's become somewhat anti-immigration. Probably not as anti-immigration as people like myself would like, but reasonably so. And things were going well in Austria. Well, now there's a section of doubt, but some people on the continent are pretty optimistic about what may happen, and I hope they're right. It's really fantastic. That things are going so fluidly now. Just a couple of months ago, everyone thought that Geert Wilders and his political party in the Netherlands, that they were the preeminent nationalist group. Well, in 2017, a lot of people thought his party might have ended up controlling the legislature in that country. Well, it didn't work out, unfortunately. But, in recent regional elections, which are related to who gets picked for the Dutch Senate, Thierry Baudet has come onto the scene as if from nowhere, and his political party, Forum for Freedom, has become the largest party in the Dutch Senate. Now, Baudet is a kind of an interesting character, a journalist, very well educated, former university professor, extremely handsome. He makes women's knees go watery. He has like a cult following. Speaks in classical illusions. Has suddenly leapfrogged over the previous Nationalist Party. So it's things are going so fast and furious right now in Europe. It's sometimes a little difficult to keep a handle on everything. So I'm still mildly optimistic. Even with the unfortunate disaster in Austria, that European nationalism will continue to do well. Granted, in its extremely mild form, that seems to be popular with the voters right now. I think it was the German Chancellor Merkel's mistake of the century when they decided to open the borders of the EU to quite literally hundreds and hundreds of thousands of third worlders several years ago. And that's what's caused this giant backlash. Nobody could have predicted it, but it's come. It's come. So I'm still rather optimistic in general, but I just hope things go better in Austria. I hope things stabilize, and perhaps some other person can rise to the top and take over Strache's position. He was a very talented man. Maybe that gentleman who ran for president, who almost made it, maybe he can be the new leader of the party. He seems like a decent chap. But at any rate, this is Corncod 1 of Nationalist News and Notes signing off.